There was a time I swallowed every rule they handed me. I learned early to play small, to be agreeable, to nod when silence was safer than truth. I became fluent in the language of pretending. Pretending I didn't see the cracks in their systems. Pretending I didn't hear the hypocrisy humming just beneath the surface. Pretending I didn't feel the weight of something pressing against my ribs, begging me to break the illusion. But the moment came. The moment that split me open, that unmade the script I had been living by. I was standing in a room full of people who prided themselves on knowledge. Intellectuals, thinkers, people who believed they understood truth. And yet, the air was thick with avoidance. The real conversation was pulsing just beneath the surface, but no one dared speak it. I sat there, listening to careful words, diplomatic niceties, polished narratives wrapped in logic, but it was all rotting. You could feel it. Then, someone looked at me. Maybe they sensed the discomfort in my shoulders, the tension in my breath, the way my silence wasn't agreement, but pressure waiting to rupture. Why don't you share your thoughts? That was the moment. That was the invitation to step through the doorway I'd spent my life staring at. I had two choices: continue the script, nod along, offer something digestible, or say the truth that would dismantle everything comfortable in that room. And I said it. Every word that had been trapped in my throat erupted, unfiltered, unapologetic, uncontrollable. I spoke about the illusion they were clinging to, about the truths they were tiptoeing around. I didn't soften it, didn't disguise it in polite diplomacy. I let it land like thunder. The silence after was heavy. Some flinched, some looked away, some straightened their posture, as if they had just heard something they couldn't ignore. But in that silence, something shifted. The air changed, because the trickster energy had just arrived, and once it moves through a space, reality bends, whether people are ready or not. From that moment forward, I couldn't go back. I couldn't pretend anymore. That single choice to disrupt, to say what was forbidden, to refuse the carefully orchestrated game, rearranged everything. It cost me people. It cost me the illusion of belonging. It cost me my ability to sit comfortably in rooms where silence was mistaken for peace. But it gave me truth. It gave me power. It gave me freedom. Because the trickster's path isn't easy, but it is necessary. And once you step into it, once you say the thing that no one else will say, you are changed forever. You feel it, don't you? That deep sense that something isn't quite right, that the world has grown too rigid, too predictable, too suffocating in its certainty. The systems you live in, the structures that shape your life, political, social, even spiritual, have calcified, resisting transformation, blocking the flow of possibility. But what if I told you that the key to breaking free lies within one of humanity's most misunderstood and wildly untamed forces? The trickster, the divine mischief maker, the sacred disruptor, the shapeshifter who dances on the razor's edge between chaos and order. This figure has been with us since time immemorial, moving through stories, myths, and spiritual traditions in countless forms. Coyote, Loki, Anansi the Spider, the Monkey King, each a spark of rebellion, a force of disruption, an agent of truth wrapped in riddles and laughter. But this isn't just about stirring up trouble for the sake of it. No, the trickster operates on a far deeper level, a cosmic force residing in the cracks between structure and possibility, embodying paradox itself. Their chaos serves a purpose: to wake us up, to stretch the limits of what we think is possible, to push us through the discomfort that leads to wisdom. Tricksters are the boundary crossers, the sacred agitators who refuse to let us remain stagnant in our thinking, who remind us that life, true unfiltered, vibrant life, is unpredictable, messy, and infinitely more mysterious than we've been led to believe. And in a world suffocating under the weight of division, control, and rigid ideologies, the trickster's presence has never been more crucial. You see it in the modern rebels, the truth speakers, the whistleblowers, the satirists who expose the absurdity of the status quo. The trickster lives in those who dare to disrupt, who pull at the seams of the ordinary, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable, the unseen, the forgotten. But here's the twist. The trickster isn't just out there. This force is within you, dormant, perhaps, waiting, watching, ready to be awakened. So I ask you, are you willing to step into the trickster's dance, to let go of the rules you thought were absolute, to embrace the wild, unpredictable current that moves through all things? Because now, more than ever, in a time of environmental upheaval, technological acceleration, and cultural fragmentation, this archetype holds the key to navigating the unknown. This is more than myth, more than ancient wisdom. It's an invitation to break free, to disrupt, to play, to speak the truths that have long been buried. Mystic, seeker, wanderer, you have been called. The trickster is here. Are you ready? Now let's step through the veil together, into the world of the trickster, into a way of being that defies stagnation, fear, and limitation. Because the future is uncertain, and the trickster's dance, it's one you can no longer ignore. Let's set the record straight. The trickster is not just some reckless troublemaker, nor a mere jester playing tricks for amusement. No, this force runs far deeper. The trickster embodies a profound spiritual principle, dancing at the edge of chaos and order, defying boundaries, embracing contradiction. They are shapeshifters, boundary crossers, sacred disruptors. They refuse to let you stay comfortable in your assumptions. They challenge, they provoke, they force you to question everything you thought you knew. At first glance, the trickster appears chaotic, even destructive. They break rules, upend expectations, shatter illusions. But look beyond the surface, and you'll see their deeper purpose. The trickster isn't here to wreck things for the sake of it. They are here to awaken, to transform, to force expansion where stagnation has taken hold. Their disruptions push you toward something greater, toward awareness, toward growth, toward a consciousness you might not have dared to explore otherwise. There are certain traits all tricksters share. They disrupt established patterns, tearing down rigid thinking. They exist beyond conventional morality, neither purely good nor purely evil, slipping through definitions like water through fingers. They wield humor, wit, and cunning, not brute force. They adapt, shapeshift, blend into their surroundings, making them impossible to pin down. They bring hidden truths into the light, exposing what others refuse to see. And most importantly, they embody paradox, hero and villain, creator and destroyer, chaos and wisdom, all at once. But here's the crucial part. The trickster does not replace one rigid system with another. Their energy is about movement, fluidity, transformation. They keep minds from growing calcified, keep beliefs from stagnating into absolutes. In a world obsessed with labels and control, they are the force that reminds us life is messy, life is unpredictable, life is contradiction, And in that contradiction, in that uncertainty, that is where the real magic happens. This archetype is universal, appearing across the world in countless forms, suggesting something fundamental about human consciousness, something ancient and unshakable. So let's journey deeper. Let's explore how this energy manifests across cultures, across traditions, across time. Because understanding the trickster might just be the key to unlocking something buried deep within yourself. Across cultures, across time, the trickster takes on many forms, each carrying the same electric pulse of disruption and transformation. In Native American spirituality, this energy shines brilliantly through figures like Coyote, a paradoxical force, both foolish and wise, selfish yet ultimately beneficent. Coyote steals fire for humanity, shapes the land through his reckless misadventures, and breaks rules with reckless abandon. But in doing so, he cracks open the world of possibility. His chaos is not meaningless. It is the necessary fire of change. Then there's Raven, the great trickster of the Pacific Northwest. In Haida, Tsimshian, and Tlingit traditions, Raven plays the role of the divine creator, but never in the way you'd expect. In one famous tale, Raven steals the sun, moon, and stars from a hoarding chief, bringing light to a world left in darkness. His actions may seem selfish, even unpredictable, but ultimately, they serve the collective. And this is the trickster's dance, unsettling what is stagnant so that new possibilities can unfold. And the Heyoka, the sacred clown of Lakota tradition. To an outsider, their behavior might seem absurd, riding horses backward, wearing clothes inside out, laughing when others cry, crying when others laugh. But this is no mere foolishness. The Heyoka mirrors the contradictions and blind spots of society, forcing the people to see themselves in ways they've never dared before. Through laughter, discomfort, reversal, they lead their community to deeper truths. They break logic open so wisdom can emerge. Travel to Norse mythology, and you meet Loki, the ultimate shapeshifter, neither holy god nor giant. His existence is fluid, his nature impossible to pin down. At times, he is the clever ally of the Aesir gods, helping them acquire their most powerful treasures. At others, he is their greatest adversary, his trickery unraveling their harmony. It is Loki's mischief that leads to the death of Baldur, the radiant god of light. And yet, destruction in Norse mythology is never final. It is a necessary step in the cycle of renewal. Loki's ultimate destiny is to lead the forces against the gods at Ragnarok, the Norse apocalypse. But from the ruins of that battle will rise a new world. This is the trickster's truth. Disruption is never the end, only the doorway to rebirth. In African spiritual traditions, the trickster is not merely a disruptor, but a guide, standing at the crossroads between worlds. In Yoruba cosmology, Eshu Elegba, known as Legba in Vodun traditions, holds this vital role. He is the divine messenger, the unpredictable force that reminds us that fate is never fixed, that divine will often appears in ways that defy expectation. Eshu challenges assumptions, shattering certainty, and reminding us that life is full of surprises. And then there's Anansi the Spider, the brilliant trickster of West African folklore. Anansi is small but mighty, using wit and cunning to outmaneuver far greater powers. But Anansi is not just a trickster. He is a storyteller, credited with bringing stories to humanity. And herein lies a profound truth. Trickster energy is not just about breaking the world. It is about weaving something new in its place. When the transatlantic slave trade tore Africans from their homelands, Anansi's stories traveled with them. evolving into Anansi tales in the Caribbean and the Americas. These stories became an act of spiritual resistance, a way to preserve culture, encode survival strategies, and maintain a connection to ancestral wisdom. The trickster, in every culture, in every form, carries the same sacred function: to shake us awake, to force us to see beyond our blind spots, to remind us that transformation is often messy, uncomfortable, and utterly necessary. So tell me, Seeker, do you feel the trickster stirring within? Because their time has come, and the dance is about to begin. In the East, the trickster spirit manifests with a unique brilliance, blending rebellion with wisdom, chaos with enlightenment. Take the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, from Journey to the West. Born from stone, blessed with supernatural power, and utterly unwilling to bow to authority, he storms the gates of heaven, defies the gods, and leaves disruption in his wake. But here's the catch. His wild nature, his reckless defiance, is gradually tempered through Buddhist discipline. He learns restraint, but he never loses his edge, his cleverness, his irreverence, his ability to defy convention. These are what make him indispensable in his sacred quest for wisdom. Even in the most structured spiritual paths, trickster energy remains vital. Sometimes it's the only way through. In Zen Buddhism, the trickster doesn't take human form. It takes shape in koans, those riddles designed to scramble logic, to shake students awake from the prison of conventional thought. What is the sound of one hand clapping? What was your original face before you were born? These questions aren't meant to be answered. They are meant to disrupt, to confuse, to lead into awakening. The Zen master, in this sense, mirrors the trickster, using unorthodox methods to guide seekers toward deeper truth. And then there's Krishna, playful, mischievous, divinely unpredictable. As a child, he steals butter, plays pranks, upends authority. But even in adulthood, his sacred mission is woven with trickster energy. He bends rules. He uses wit, cleverness, even deception, to restore cosmic balance, to realign Dharma. Krishna reminds us that wisdom doesn't always wear the mask of solemnity. Sometimes the sacred hides in laughter, in games, in trickery itself. Even within the more rigid traditions of the Abrahamic religions, trickster energy quietly weaves itself in. In Jewish mystical tradition, wisdom often arrives in unexpected forms. Jacob, who uses trickery to secure his brother's birthright, ends up fulfilling a divine purpose. And within Hasidic tales, the wise fool emerges, figures whose absurdity masks deep truths, whose antics shake people out of their rigid thinking. In Christian tradition, Jesus himself moves with the trickster's cunning. He speaks in riddles, parables that turn conventional wisdom on its head, forcing his followers to question their assumptions. He defies religious authorities, challenges societal norms, and exposes hypocrisy, not through brute force, but through clever wordplay and unexpected action. In this way, he becomes the trickster as the sacred disruptor. And in Islamic Sufi traditions, we find Mullah Nasruddin, the wandering wise fool. His stories are filled with absurdity, with contradictions, with humor that slips beneath the surface to reveal deeper truths. He is the trickster disguised as foolishness, teaching wisdom through laughter, because sometimes the sharpest insight arrives wrapped in jest. Step beyond religion and into mythology, and the trickster stands tall across cultures. In Greco-Roman tradition, Hermes, messenger of the gods, is the ultimate boundary crosser, moving effortlessly between worlds. Even in infancy, he reveals his nature, stealing Apollo's cattle, crafting the first lyre, turning conflict into creativity. The Trickster does not just break things, they transform them. Prometheus, too, embodies the Trickster's rebellious wisdom, stealing fire from the gods, gifting it to humanity. He suffers for his defiance, yet his act reshapes human destiny. Time and time again, we see this pattern. The Trickster who risks, who rebels, who pays a price to bring transformation. And in Egyptian mythology, there is Set, chaos incarnate, often painted as destruction, as betrayal, as villainy. But look closer, and you will see. His energy is necessary. He does not exist to destroy blindly. He exists to maintain balance, to challenge stagnation, to ensure that transformation is always possible. The Trickster refuses to be confined. They move between worlds, between traditions, between opposing forces. They are both sacred and irreverent, both wisdom and chaos, both destruction and renewal. So where does that leave you? Have you felt the Trickster's call? The quiet tug to break free, to challenge, to disrupt, to awaken something deeper within. Because the Trickster is not merely a story. They are a force, and they are waiting. Coyote and Maui, two Tricksters separated by oceans, by time, by vastly different cultural landscapes, yet each carrying that same restless energy of transformation. In Aztec tradition, Coyote's story is one of cosmic cycles. Her downfall leads to renewal. Her broken body becomes the moon, forever illuminating the night. She is destruction, yes, but also rebirth. Meanwhile, Maui, the brilliant trickster of Polynesian mythology, bends the world to his will, fishing islands from the sea, slowing the sun, stealing fire. He is the ultimate boundary pusher, proving again and again that limitations exist only to be shattered. Both figures remind us that reality is malleable, that the impossible is often just the unattempted, and then a deeper parallel emerges. So now, here we are. The dust is still settling from the stories we've walked through, the cosmic jester's footprints still fresh in our minds. Raven has stolen the sun. Loki has whispered behind the veil. Heyoka has reversed the ritual. And maybe, just maybe, something has begun to stir inside you. That strange flicker in your chest, that pulse of rebellion in your spirit. That's not rebellion for its own sake. That is sacred disruption. That is trickster energy moving through you, not to tear down everything, but to shake loose what's no longer true, to crack open what's been calcified, to remind you, you are more than what you've been told. You are more than what you've been sold. This was just part one. Because we've only just scratched the surface, there is still more to reveal. In part two, we go deeper into the fire and the mirror. We explore how trickster energy is reshaping our world right now. Through digital rebels, ecological shapeshifters, consciousness hackers, and soul integrators walking between dimensions of science, myth, and transformation. We will ask the hard questions. We will hold the contradictions, and we will not look away. But before we go further, if what you've heard resonates in your bones, if the trickster's laughter echoes somewhere deep in your soul, then I invite you to take this energy beyond the screen. Join us at Mystical Illumination on Patreon. That's where the deeper conversations live, where we step outside the algorithm into something sacred. We break open myths, explore spiritual warfare, decode ancient texts, and honor the path of the seeker, the mystic, the rebel, the initiate, and yes, the trickster. Your presence there helps support the creation of these videos, but it does more than that. It builds a sanctuary for those who feel too much, know too much, and still want to love this world enough to transform it. This isn't the end. It's the threshold. And from here, the dance only grows wilder, wiser, and more illuminating. So take a breath, integrate what's come through, and when you're ready, meet me in part 2. Because the Trickster has already moved on ahead. The path is open, the fire is lit, and you're exactly where you're meant to be. Stay curious, stay wild, stay lit. Mystical illumination is calling.